Hi guys, welcome to Triumph Business Talk podcast. Also, you'll be seeing us on YouTube and down a quick chat today with you guys. Two things: one chat about rats and the other about fleas. What we've been calling in the last couple of months is we're in September now, so we come to the end of September. We get calls for fleas throughout sort of August, July, August, and into September, depending on the weather. The flea season, as we call it, will be sort of ending soon. You get the odd one, maybe in the next couple of weeks. That tends to be the case with ourselves. First of all, we'll talk about fleas in a bit. First of all, having a chat today about rats and getting rats in your house. So, a typical call we will get is a rat problem, hearing noises in the attic. Okay, so what we are looking at is a situation where we will have an appointment made, and usually we cover it over 3 visits. The reason we do 3 visits is because we also want to look at the drain systems of the customer, i.e. yourselves, and what happens is we want to put CCTV cameras down your drains to look for any breaks in the pipes. A lot of domestic problems with rats will have holes or breaks in drainage of some sort, and that's what we are trying to look out for. Right from going sometimes leading up to the back of toilets where there's connectors and the rats will chew out through there, going through breaks, ingress in the actual chambers of where there's sewer pipes which we pull up from the drain covers and we have a look at. We connect drains from one part to another along the main drains to have a look. And sometimes if we can communicate with the next door, then we can have a chat and look at theirs as well. Sometimes they'll come across up cavities and into the roofs. Now they can come into the flat roofs. We get a lot where people have had extensions and where people have built over an old drain system in the extension and not had the old drain system blocked off properly, and that allows rats to come up the main sewer into the drains and then causing problems in the property, or in some cases the flat roof at the back where the extension's been, or even further into the attic space above the bedrooms. So one job we've done recently, they've been called out, we've put cameras down the drains, we found a break, they've had that repaired. We were having problems in the flat roof. We've managed to get them. We've managed to have the drains repaired. We managed to check next door. Their drains were okay, but they had some repairs done in the previous months. So at the moment, having fixed the drain side of things, having dealt with the rats internally, now sometimes we do have to. Sometimes we try everything we can not to put poison down, and when we have to, say it's internally in an attic. Then that's the case. We always mention to our customers that rats can die in out of the way places, cause bad smells, maggots and flies. That sometimes can happen. Say they've done 20 jobs, that can happen in 1 occasion, 2 occasions. But we do mention that to the customers. Most customers are quite happy. Say, look, they just want to get rid of them, and okay, that's something they're prepared to take the risk on. If we are able to not put any baits down and get rid of the rats via the drain systems, implementing rat flaps so that the rats come out and then they can't get back in through the rat flap. But generally, that's something that the rats could be using a couple of entrance points, and we can't get to that stage quick enough, and so. It can be so ongoing that it's weighing up what's the best options when we're on site and surveying and looking at your property. So it tends to be a mixture of baiting, say an attic space, and then dealing with the drains downstairs, outside, and putting cameras down to see where these breaks are coming from. Sometimes there'll be nothing in the drains going on. And there could simply be an old vent, an old washing machine pipe hole at the back. The rats have dug underneath the perimeter foundation of the building and gone up cavities that way. And sometimes, obviously, as a name we give it, called the T-shape, that they're coming across up, but coming across other roofs on either side, or one side that's semi-detached. So these are some of the ways that we look to get rid of the problem. Long-term solutions, which obviously is finding the holes in the drainage systems and alleviating the problem there, and therefore the customer not having the rats again, whereas they've maybe had them for the past 2 or 3 years, where they get rid of them a bit. No one's looked at the drains. We look at the drains, put our cameras down, and find those problems. Secondly, today, talking about is fleas. A lot of people will have pet fleas in their property. They will try and treat it themselves, and rightly so. They sell those products in the shops or online, and they will try and use those. After going through X amount of money, they still struggling to get rid of them, and so they will give us a phone and say, can you help? What we first of all say to yourselves is, if you have a flea problem in your property and you try to do it yourself, first of all, have a chat with your local vet. I know you can go to the shops and buy stuff and things, but we find that if you have a chat with your local vet, they will tell you in your area what flea treatment is working best for the pets at that in this year, say, you know, and they'll tell you exactly this is working really well this year locally. Use this, so that will help get rid of the fleas quicker on the pet. There's preparation works we do for you to do before we arrive at your property. And imagine if you go into each room of your house to have it clear, all the floors clear, make sure there's no plugs, adapters on the floor, any iPads or paperwork. So all the floor surfaces are clear, so we can actually treat around the whole of the property like that. So we're using a water mixture chemical treatment, so we will spray throughout. Sometimes we will use a slight fogging machine, which ULV, ultra low volume, which means more sort of a mist in the corners or from a spray. It's called flushing out around the nooks and crannies and crevices to sort of get the fleas away from those areas, or excited as they come out, and then doing the spray treatment followed up over that. A lot of the time we will just do a thorough spray treatment, and that tends to survive, depending on how bad a problem it is. We can tend to go into a property, put our white overalls, have a walk round, and you usually can see within a short space of time, even once you've started the treatment and you've got all your equipment on, that the fleas will jump up onto you. And that gives sort of an indication of how bad the problem is sometimes. The tenants can tell, it's really bad, and that gives us an indication. So depending on how bad a level it is. But having all the areas cleared in each room so we can safely spray around. You don't have to move big lumps of furniture around. We can work around all that underneath. Now, if some bedrooms, you've got them anything underneath the beds, then to make sure that's cleared away and decluttered. Don't move like cat bedding or dog bedding or whatever and put it high up somewhere, because the fleas will be in the bedding. Sometimes we don't spray treat the bedding for safety reasons. We always say to for the bedding, if you're able to get rid of it and it's a bad problem, then get rid of it. Some people, depending on the size of the bedding, give it a real good wash on a hot temperature or steam wash it, clean it. That could certainly help. What we do upon our arrival then is spray throughout your property. You have to be out, any pets have to be out, and any cat flaps that you have to be safely locked if they're automatic ones, so that the cat can't get back in whilst we're treating. So we will spray throughout, treat, and then from fight you'll get a full digital report from us, and we then leave from the time we finish. It would be then for you not to re-enter for 5 hours after, so that it's safe to come back in. The floors are not all wet, so you don't want to slip over, and that's how we would treat for fleas for you. And then obviously then not to hoover or clean around anywhere for a good 2 weeks. This is to allow the treatment to be in place, not get washed away, and be effective. Sometimes you get what I call re-emergence of fleas. So 3-4 weeks later, suddenly you'll get fleas hatching out. These are fleas that have been in the process of hatching into fleas, and the chemical treatment will then get the fleas when they hatch out. So that's what we will cover for you when we're treating for fleas. So if there's any questions you've got and you're watching us on YouTube, please like us, subscribe below. If you're listening to us on any of the platforms for our our podcast, then please just send us a voice message through. If there's anything else you want me to talk to you about. Thanks for listening, guys. This is our second episode on our podcast, so do bear with us. We are working on it, so bring more stuff into the future, and please help us to help you. If there's anything you want to talk about, if you're a local business out there in South Wales and you want to have a chat about your business, we'd love to hear from you, be it from a plumber to executive to factories to manufacturing, any sort of business. We want to talk about social media here on our podcast. We want to talk about how you're finding your marketing, any problems, self-employed, limited companies, all these bits. And an electrician, might be simply how for someone, how to safely change a plug. So it's as good as that. So thanks very much, guys. This is Melvin Williams for the Triumph Business Podcast. So please send any messages. As I said before, subscribe, like below if you're watching us on YouTube, and I'll speak to you again. Bye, guys.